Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about attachments. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, would you say that an engineer should have an emotional attachment to his or her project? No, I wouldn't say so. I would say that the important part is that the engineer has an emotional attachment to doing well, to doing a good job. In other words, like achieving excellency in whatever they are trying to do, and that they have a healthy connection to the overall goals of the group that they are part of. Let me explain that a little bit. So there are people who are people. Emotional attachment is a sort of vague term. It can mean many things. The thing that I usually think of when we talk about emotional attachment is that you actually care genuinely about some project or one thing or another. So you can argue that the thing that I just sort of described here earlier is an emotional attachment. It's hard for me to say if that falls in the way that you define it, but I'll just try to sort of explain it from the way I see it. When I say that you don't necessarily need to have an emotional attachment to a specific product, what I mean by that is that you don't necessarily have to have this sort of blind loyalty or this irrational thing where you're sort of you're faithful to the project or you're faithful to a specific company or something like that just because you feel this. I'm not saying illogical, but this emotional attachment that keeps you in place, if that makes sense, because that doesn't benefit anybody really, apart from maybe whoever you're loyal to. The thing that I think is more useful or more healthy overall is that you think in terms of mutual benefit. That's the thing that I wish that we were more about in general. Usually it's what people argue is that everybody's in it for themselves, or that sort of mentality, where you have examples of people who sort of don't do this, where you like the stereotypical idea you have of the manager who only cares about their own career, or the salesperson is trying to scam you out of your money because they want to make a sale, or things like that. But I like to think more about the sort of people who, well, who bring a mutual benefit to whatever they do, because they act in good faith, they're good at what they do, and they understand what they need to do in order to achieve the sort of results that they need to make the people who are receiving help or reciprocal to whatever they're doing, to make them happy, basically. You can think about it as a little bit like a really nice waiter or waitress who knows that having a positive, nice attitude and treating you well will give them, that is going to make your day a little bit better, or like they're just genuinely nice to talk to, and then you basically feel as if, yeah, I should give them an extra big tip or something like that. That you want to reciprocate the like to give back something. That's the thing that you want from your software team. You want, or from your engineers, you want them to care about doing what they need to do as well as they can so that the project succeeds. That's what's important, not that they will stay in place or so forth, because you might find that some people are very good at one stage in the project, some people are committed but they don't actually have what it takes to do the thing, etc., etc. So the focus shouldn't be this, as I said, loyalty or that sort of attachment. It should be that you as an individual, what is the saying? Good people do good things even when nobody's watching. That's the thing that you need from your software developers. It is the foundational thing that you need for software development to work. Because the thing is, guys, I know that there are these people who will tell you that, you can that it's hard to not do a bad that it's there are these people who have a very, let's just call it, negative view of software development, where you have they talk about software developers not caring, or they talk about managers, like the developers are talking about managers who causes incompetence and like causes issues for them and so forth. And all I ever see is that when things are not working, it comes down to either that the software developers are not able to actually perform efficiently, or the managers have expectations on their developers, or like there's like they don't really have any insight in how things are going, so you can't really lead. Like you either lack leadership or you lack talent within the engineering department. And the reality is, guys, that if you have to optimize for something in such a situation, it's better to optimize for the overall, like even if you have poor software developers, if you at the very least have people who really want to do well, even if they have limited skills, you're going to be better off than if you create this weird situation where they don't really give a shit. Because when you work with experts, which is what software development is about, you don't actually know how the code is. Most companies don't know the state of their own code base, and that requires a lot of trust. Similar to how I tell people, you want to take a walk on the wild side, try to insult the waitress or waiter I was talking about. Let's see if the person who's handling your food when you're not there, like what type of person they are. Or, it's like treating your nanny poorly or something like that, who's taking care of your kids while you're away doing something else. I hope you sort of get where I'm going with this. And so that's the thing that I try to build within the teams that I work with at the very least. I don't really care whether or not a software developer wants to stay on a project forever, because I would never, as when I at the very least run a team, I would never design a system of people and a digital system in such a poor fashion that I assume that the people who are here right now are going to stay here. I try, and this is something that a lot of companies don't do that. I design my entire setup like as a factory, basically, or as a military unit, or you call it whatever you want. It should be possible to lose basically anybody at any time. And sure, you might take a hit to productivity, but it's not the kiss of death to the thing. It's just, if you do this right, you can plug and play people pretty easily, and the only thing that should change, as I said, is the overall velocity, but the overall quality and all this other stuff can be systematically solved. The thing that I can't solve is, as I said, if the only option I have is to bring in people who don't really want to do a good job, or people who don't really, where I can't trust that they're going to try to adapt or like to do the best they can, or so forth and so forth. And if they don't have take any pride in their craft, and I can't trust their integrity or anything like that, then nothing else matters. It's like the security people telling you that, doesn't matter how many firewalls you have and how many authentication systems you have, etc., etc. If the people who are on the inside just let the hackers in, then nothing matters. It's the same thing here. You can have all the plans and all the systems in the world, but if the people who are or laws or whatever, if the people are not doing the thing that they need to be doing, well, the whole thing collapses basically. So what I want you to take away from this is that no, I don't think that you necessarily, depending on how you define it, need an emotional attachment to within your engineers. I think it's silly sometimes when I hear people who are applying for jobs at McDonald's. Why do you want to work here? What is your motivation to work here, and so forth? You look for this thing, and I kind of go, I don't really it's great to have people who really care, but at the end of the day, I will take a person who says that this seems to be an interesting project and gives it to me straight, and seems to be the sort of individual who will learn what they need to learn to do well in the environment. Then they are committed to making sure that things go the way that it should be, should go. They're committed to excellence within whatever they do. These are the sorts of people you want on your team, because they will adapt to the situation. And sure, they might not stick around forever, but while they're there, they're going to bring real value, and you can put them on other stuff as well. It becomes much, much better for everyone if you have these sorts of people, at least what I argue. Have a great day.